MakingStarWars.net.
Hey, YouTube.com. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. How's it going? Hey, Sketchcraft. How are you? Hey, Chris. How are you?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. So I'm trying to get my energy back. Had a long week already. We've done a lot.
It's been a long few weeks, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of news coming out.
Right? I know. I'm how many days have we got until Kenobi already? I'm
Tonight.
What is it? Thursday? No. Well, it came out yesterday, right? So we got like 6 days.
Oh shit! Is it
5 days?
It's not tonight. Yeah. We got 5
Feels
days.
like it's every night. That celebration is what threw me off. You know what I mean? Like it was like it's like every day is this thing now. Like
You know what Rob has?
Breaking news.
You know what Rob has right now?
No. I love this show. I think it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil,
I don't want
how's
to
it
be
going?
the guy, man. I love it. I love it.
No. I mean, you don't have to fake it.
No, I love it.
No, but I mean, it's gonna. I think it's gonna get a little bit more interesting in the next couple of weeks, though. I really do. Like because it's gonna go into like a different place, and then the comeback and stuff. You know, I think that's gonna be like more of the uplifting part that people will generally just naturally enjoy a lot more. I could be wrong. You know, who knows? I mean, I thought with Book of Boba Fett they were peppering in things that were going to pay off later, and they didn't. So I saw that there was an article on Slash Film with Tamara Morrison where he doesn't. I don't want to become like hyperbolic about it, but he's like, looking back at it, some things we could have done better. Basically, essentially, it's like what he says, and that's. No, we can't mock them when they're fucking.
Oh no, I'm not
like,
mocking him.
I actually highly respect the fact that he's not just like, oh, everything we do here at Disney, LLC Corporation Business.edu is fantastic. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he's just like, yeah, you know what, it probably could have been better, and I kind of appreciate the candidness.
I have no problems with him. Like,
yeah, he wasn't bad at all.
He wasn't bad. The story was bad.
like a Bantha is. I'm being serious. Like that is some shit that should not have worked, you know?
Yeah.
But he made that work. Like
his like personality and that shined through and made that stuff come through and work, you know? Like he does Tamara Morrison does seem like he'd be like the coolest uncle in the world to have, you know?
Absolutely.
In reality. He does seem pretty cool. But,
like you would out of all the people going to Galaxy's Edge with, now that Carrie's passed, he'd be the one I'd pick.
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think he'd just have the most normal kind of unexpected fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, he seems cool.
Yeah, it seems like he's a fun guy, and that's not a plant joke. Fandom Empire says, happy weekend, peeps. Hope we get some more Kenobi to talk today. On the road all day, but can't wait to tune in. Does everyone else hear the haters crying out in fear? Laugh out loud. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about Kenobi today. I don't think the chat would not let us, right? I mean, it's possible, but I think the chat will dictate that we do.
Yeah.
And last night, Fandom Empire was like, "Hey man, did I piss you off a little bit or something?" I was like, "No," and he's like, "Okay, because you kind of skipped my thing." And I was like, "Dude, I totally sang the Golden Girls theme song to you." I said, "Thank you for being a friend." Remember? That happened.
I heard.
But anyways, Neil
you
says,
didn't even
"Hey,
mention me." I was like, we need a raw break tomorrow. Like I was like, I'm gonna let you guys off. I'm gonna go off and cook. Super fun show, by the way, yesterday. All that news you dropped. If people haven't checked it out, go check out. Jason put on like 10 hours of show yesterday.
It was ridiculous.
Dropping
high quality
info.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. And then I'm still sunburned from being outside there yesterday. A little red. But yeah, just all the news about possible Kenobi season 2. Yep, it seems like that is where it is going. I always tell people, like Rob does too, until it's fucking filming, like consider it a hope. You know, the little Princess Leia hope line. But
I had hoped. Have we talked about? Are you talking about? Or are we talking about
what
the Taika thing?
Yeah, why don't we just get into that now? Why don't we just jump over to that,
right.
and then we could lead into it? Because, yeah, this is from my friend, as Omega says, Taika Waititi's Star Wars film will reportedly film in Los Angeles.
Hey, not for nothing. Doesn't Taika have a little bit of that Batman jaw? Man,
A little bit, yeah.
look at that.
It's total Chad.
He's got a. I don't have a fucking lucky jaw. Man, the guy's got everything. Good hair, jawline.
Yeah, I mean, making out with 2 chicks directing superheroes. Guy's a fucking rock star. Yeah. We can't deny it. I'm sorry, but we can't.
You know, he played Hitler and won an Oscar. You figure that one out.
Think, right? I got to watch him direct his episode of Mandalorian season 1. It was pretty rad. I didn't know at the time who it was, and then like now look back, I'm like, that was pretty amazing. So Bespin Bulletin took his fancy quill out and wrote, in the latest issue of Production Weekly, a mysterious Star Wars production appeared under the title Untitled Star Wars Project. Never heard that one before, Production Weekly, which leads fans to speculate as to what said project is. Some speculated that perhaps it's a television series we currently don't know about, as both Andor Season 2 and Skeleton Crew were listed in the latest issue. And some speculated that the Untitled Project is actually the Taika Waititi film. And those fans are correct. What did you just say to us, Bespin? You're telling me I was wrong and they were right? Piece of shit. According to the listing, that this is what it's like when I read the internet all day. According to the listing, the Untitled Star Wars Project is the feature film from Taika Waititi and is currently in active development, with its filming location listed as Los Angeles, though no start date was mentioned. If the listing is correct, then Los Angeles location does lead me to wonder if the movie will film at Manhattan Beach and make use of the volume. Something Waititi is very familiar with given his work on The Mandalorian and Thor Love and Thunder, though it doesn't escape me that this listing appears less than a week after Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy revealed that Taika Waititi's Star Wars film is aiming to release in late 2023. Fun fact, before the pandemic was full effect, I was hearing they were going to take that shit to Australia at one point.
Ooh.
Yeah. But nice. It's also, but obviously I don't think that's a thing now, but
we got people on the show everywhere where they're shooting Star Wars, Jason. They can't hide.
Right?
You can't run, Kathleen Kennedy. We will snap your show.
Yeah, no, like I said, we're gonna if they do that, we're gonna get a box, and Chris is gonna go gonk 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 and just walk in on set.
Let me just paint the picture for you, folks. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me paint you a little quick scene, right? Mm-hmm. Crane kind of goes down, right? And you could see that shooting on Taika in Australia, right? They're down there.
Right.
And then sitting on the ledge of a roof with some Taco Bells, this Chris Breezy, right? Just doop, like, Deadpool taking notes, right?
no, it's like music, they're like filming and it's like, no, I am your, and you hear a crunch while you eat the bite of the taco and they're like, what? I'm like, come on, Chris. You couldn't wait to eat the Taco Bell until after.
If it was filming in Australia, I would 100% go, even if it's in Queensland or Sydney. I'm from Melbourne, so I would 100% do that. I would just quit my job.
Then they chase after you, but they can't catch Chris. He's too fucking fast. He's like the Flash,
Too athletic. Yeah, you're right.
I think he takes his tennis racket with him and he just starts like hitting stuff at him. Like it's like a superpower. He's like the tennis scooper. Okay. So it's also worth noting that Waititi still has a busy year ahead of him. Soon, he'll begin a promotional campaign for Marvel Studios' Thub and Lunder and continue his quest for 3 chicks at the same time. Which releases next month before he sets off to New Zealand to begin filming on Time Bandits series for Apple Plus, starring Peter Dinklage this August, which films until early 2023, which I'm pretty excited about that, actually. Waititi and Time Bandits sounds like a good fit. Waititi is serving as the director of the pilot of the Time Bandits series, as well as co-writer and executive producer. Before the year's end, Waititi will also be promoting the film Next Goal Wins, which is slated to release later this year and premiere at the BFI Festival this October. Though,
not for nothing, Jason. Everyone's had a shot at that Time Bandits. Even Kevin Smith talked about it once.
oh really?
Yeah, they've been trying to get that Time Bandits done for quite the whiles.
Yeah. Well, he can do it.
Yeah.
He can. I mean, he's not exactly like Terry Gilliam humor, but he's the closest thing I could think that's fresh, original, and compatible with it, right? Like I love Kevin Smith, but Kevin Smith and Time Bandits doesn't sound like a good fit to me on
Wait,
paper.
you know what? I think Kevin was working on Buckaroo Banzai. Take it back.
Oh, okay, Buckaroo Banzai.
Never mind.
Yeah,
I get the two interchanged a little bit.
Okay. Have you seen Time Bandits?
Yeah, it's when they're on the
Okay.
Titanic, right? And like they're all having
Oh
drinks
well,
and shit.
yeah. I mean, they go like a million places, but yeah, it's a great movie, by the way. It
I
holds
know,
up
but
really
that's the
well.
one as a kid I couldn't stop
As a kid?
laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I was hoping, hold on, I was hoping someone would put them in Cameron's Titanic just in one shot, like when they're running, you know?
Yeah. Though I'm ecstatic to see Waititi's film, I do find it highly unlikely that the project will begin filming this year and hit the late 2023 release window Kennedy spoke of. I'd love to be proven wrong, me too, but I personally not holding my breath for anything sooner than a 2024 release at the earliest. I mean, yeah, I think that is, I mean, like basically like, yeah, I don't see that happening. I mean, there's a couple of things of note that if we just want to play with the possibility, and that's that when they use the volume, the visual effects are largely done before for a lot of the sequences. So that means that stuff could be happening now. Also, when they use the volume, the time it takes to build sets and tear down sets also way different. It's instantaneous. It's like changing the TV channel in a way, to simplify it. So there's a possibility that based off of that, the production for it could be way fast. Yeah. And if they are working on the digital aspects of it now, like let's just pretend there's a pod race in it. And like if they're simply like rendering all of the stuff and doing all the previs now and stuff like that, there's a possibility that that principal photography could be fast. But that's the, like, I'm not a producer obviously, so I'm just using, fan logic. I think, I hope it's logic, but I just don't. So I see like that as being one of the only ways it can happen. I fished around, tried to see if anything like that was happening, and I didn't get any hits. I got some stuff about like 4 or 5 artists who were doing stuff at one time. Nothing, very obvious, no shit stuff. So I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I don't think it could happen, but would be cool if it did, and if it films in Los Angeles, that's fun. That's fun.
Not for nothing though, Jason.
You.
Just to be that guy.
That guy?
The one thing that Disney Star Wars films have all kind of like suffered from is time cringe.
Right.
I would hope that the very next one they do, they don't do that. You know what I mean? Like just don't. Like you don't have to. I get those slots are really difficult to get in Hollywood. Like the movie slots are super not easy.
Yeah.
But like in lieu of that, like even Iger, when the president of your company has to come out and go, "Yeah, my bad, forcing him in that spot," like just don't do it again.
Yeah, I don't think they've figured out what the line is with Star Wars. Like, what's good enough, you know what I mean, and what's unacceptable. I think the TV shows are kind of like pushing that. They're kind of pressing those buttons to try to figure it out, because we keep seeing like just like little tiny, just like kind of dumb things that were probably expensive to keep filming them, but like, stuff like the laser gate sequence. Obi-Wan could just walk around it, right? Like I said yesterday, I made it work for myself by just imagining there's landmines out there, so you wouldn't do it. Like that's kind of what they usually do at checkpoints and stuff too. Like from what I understand, I was in the military. Rob, does that make sense? Like, would they had like a pass like that, and there was like a thing that you could just walk around to the sides? Like, wouldn't they probably landmine it to some extent? I mean, does it make sense?
Wait, so if you had a gate and you wanted to go around it, they would land. You're talking about when Kenobi was going through that gate?
Yeah,
you jumped something. I was thinking with Taika, and all of a sudden I was like,
sorry.
Why did he just go around the gate?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like it's like if you had like a pass like strategically in a military zone, you had a road that people would go around would go through, but there's like a choke point. Then you would figure if people could just go around the choke point, so to speak, and go across your thing, you would put landmines. I just think that makes sense to me. But
if you didn't want to destroy the bridge or the pass because you yourself would need to use it, then you would landmine the shit out of that other side. And I gotta tell you, like dealing with disarming landmines in the army was my least favorite fucking thing to practice. As a guy who loves his hands, you know, I was like,
I wouldn't want to do that. But that's where I'm going. Is like at the end of the day, they went and they made the set. They put the mat up, and somebody had to have seen it and gone like, why doesn't he just go around it? And they were like, and then they probably like realistically had to pay to fix something else rather than that. Like something had to give, and that was the thing that they just didn't. I'm just guessing here, but it probably happened like that. I don't think that they were not aware of it. And I think there's also like, what will the audience buy that or not? Kind of stuff. And so
stuck out to Rob.
But yeah, no, it did.
The reason why he cut the gate was that he would get in the truck and would get a little bit of a truck.
And then they don't get in the truck; they just run out. Yeah.
I feel like George would have suggested put him in the truck and need some speed. Like that's the one thing. Like I'm like just a little.
Yeah.
But he hands Leia the blaster. She's like, I could drive or you could shoot, but we can't do both. You can't do both.
But my point is more of like, it probably came down to the time crunch about like, what could you do in that amount of time that you had. And then so instead of like certain things being revised or, made to make more sense, they weren't. And that's what would have been done. The show did have some like some allocated reshoots, but that's where like actual reshoots would have been, or a second pass on certain things would have just classed the whole joint up a little bit. And I wouldn't be against them if they came up with a new mat for some of the, like for that laser gate sequence, for instance, and changed it post release. I wouldn't be mad if they did that. If they saw people weren't buying it or whatever, they're like, oh, we could just change it. We could fix that with a couple $1,000 and just do it, and then it improves the show. I mean, I'm not against that. So, it's like when you have like a guy, in his jean shorts in the background of an accident, fix it, like same kind of thing. But obviously like the I've watched the Vader episode with the fire, for instance, though, a couple times now. And on that one, I'm just buying into it for the dramatic conceit. That said, I think there might be a difference between what she shot that started the fire and how he started the fire with his lightsaber. Because like she shoots like a tank thing, and I think it drops like a fuel into the fire. So maybe he couldn't put it out. I mean, there are actually like potentially logical like reasons for that stuff. If you need to overthink it, I think it might be there. But anyways, when it comes down to those time crunch kind of things, that's where you have those moments that don't work, and then they end up getting stuck in there. And Taika's movie's obviously gonna be a mixture of action and comedy, right? I think that's safe to say. They've even said as much.
Yeah, you think so.
So in his movie, I'm gonna guess that if the jokes are landing, the audience will be elated, and then some of the dumb shit will fall to the side. But I hope it's not a rushed job. Like all of these movies are always rushing, and then they rush into existence. They rush and then they just exist because once they exist, they're making money. But it's
to be fair, Jason, we don't really know how long they've been in production, pre-production. We don't know how far the script's coming along. We don't know these details, so we can't really say for sure. But
yes,
I hope you're right. I hope they're not rushing things.
Right. And was it Christy Cairns? I can't remember what the other writer's name was. I think it's like something like that.
I think they've worked together in the past, those two.
Yeah, she may have been writing the script for like 2 years, and You know what I mean? For all we know. So
Exactly.
that script could be done, but he was making it sound like I'm going to do this, then I'm going to start writing. Like he last update he gave was several months ago, and he said like we're basically in the structure area of the story, and which means that they haven't even written a draft. At least that's what that says to me. But yeah, but it sounds like the Taika movie is going to happen. I'm gonna guess that it's not gonna make that release date, but it will probably. Disney probably wants a Star Wars movie, and they were promised Rogue Squadron, which isn't happening now, and so the Taika movie probably just got moved up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see the Taika movie in essence somewhere between where Rogue Squadron was supposed to hit and where the Taika movie was supposed to hit, because at a certain point, Taika's schedule was likely scheduled out as far as it was in relation to Rogue Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't need you to finish that movie then, so you can start at this whatever time. But yeah, but I got a feeling he'll get rid of all of that. He'll get rid of his schedule, the stuff he has on his slate, and then he'll go forward from there. And when it comes to Time Bandits, he's like directing the pilot of the show. So that's, I'm not sure what the Time Bandits production will be like. I have no fucking idea. It's for Apple, so I don't think it's going to be like a cheap TV show necessarily.
They've been pretty consistent on the Apple quality, by the way.
Yeah.
Shows are pretty good, man.
And then he's kind of like a rock star in the industry. And so to what extent is he like the showrunner? Because that was one of the things me and Bespin were going back and forth on when we were playing video games one day. We're like, is he the showrunner or not? Because there was mixed conflicting reports on that and stuff. And I have a feeling he's the executive producer, which probably to the extent that he may oversee the showrunner that themselves. You know what I mean? Like if Taika says something, then it's probably going to go kind of situation. But that's all assumptions by me. I don't know anything about that, about Apple or Time Bandits. Thank you, Atlee. I appreciate the super chat. Kenobi needs to recover from his burns and is going to Jabim. Where other Jedi are hiding, do you think Grogu is the one who heals him? I said that would be really, really badass if it happened.
Cool.
And during when I was like doing my investigations on this production, if you want to call it that, I knew that there were like at least 2 kids in the opening, right? And then there was something that made that like the other kids had some weird kind of like codes to them or names to them. I don't remember. It was confusing to me. I don't want to say what they were because I don't want to like out anything. But I thought maybe one was Grogu and that's why it was coded. And so I was like really thinking that must be what it is. And then and I was like, man, I wonder. And then I fished around and I couldn't get any Grogus in the series at all. And eventually I just was getting it shot down consistently. And but it did occur to me, if they were going to put Grogu in the series, they wouldn't have put Grogu in that opening, because then you would have been expecting Grogu to come back the whole time. People would be asking, where's Grogu? When's he coming back? And so I do think if you were to do Grogu, Jabim would make the most sense. It would be a way to heal Kenobi, and it would also it would basically not make us ask when he's coming back, because we go right from there on the path to the finale. So but that said, gotta be real with you, I wanted, if Grogu was in this, I wanted that scoop, and if he is, I didn't get it. I didn't get any confirmation on it. Really tried for it too, because I thought that would have been a really big one, and it would have really freaked everybody out in a good way. But I don't think that's going to happen. But it would be, I would not be mad. The only thing about it, the only problem with it in a way, is if they have a different story for what happens to Grogu. And also, just keep throwing it out there. What if everybody gets killed? What if everybody on Jabim gets killed? But you could also have that happen, I guess, and then the Inquisitors take Grogu, and then they're like, they don't make him an Inquisitor. They give him to the cloners or something, you know. There's always, because that was like the other thing is, I was thinking that there might be a connection between what Tala says when they're like, what happened? Remember when she's like, what happens to the kids, to the Jedi who they capture, and she's like, nobody knows. They may be doing something sadistic with them, like sending them to a lab and doing experiments on them and then killing them. Like, I mean, I hate to get too real world gross about it, but when you look at like what the Nazis did in the internment camps and what they tried to do they tried to utilize the people in horrible ways as materials at times. And so would Palpatine try to, I don't know, make midi-chlorian high C for him to drink out of it? It's possible. I'm saying like I'm joking, obviously, but I could see them taking that into some kind of storyline, some kind of plot like thing with them and what's happening there. And Grogu may be a part of that. So there's a chance that was a tease for Grogu, for Grogu's storyline in a different, in Mandalorian, when we get flashbacks or something. That's a hope of mine. I would like all of these things to talk to each other in as much as they can. But at the same time, like when you get like a fancy, when you get some of the more like, fancy writers and stuff like that, I don't know if they're really taking into account what's going on with somebody else's thing, They kind of want to do their own thing usually, and then at the end, they kind of might, like the video I did last night about Corran Horn. Like in my opinion, Corran Horn probably wasn't meant to be a thing or isn't a thing. My opinion, though, they probably asked like Pablo Hidalgo, like, who could this be? And then he saw, oh, Corran Horn, and said that name, and the mom, they were like, okay, wrote it down. No harm, no foul. It doesn't hurt the story. It doesn't, and it's a deep cut. But I would love to be wrong about that. I would love to think that there is like a grander plan with all of this stuff, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much that stuff is talking to each other. So, but thank you, Atlee. I appreciate it. And we got another story. These are all the stories that I couldn't get to because that was the stuff I was doing yesterday, and Bespin covered them. So I think it's a good little read here. So today, a promotional banner for the Bad Batch appeared on Disney Plus in some markets and sported the release date of September 28th. Though I was unable to verify this myself, as the listing does not appear in the United Kingdom version of the streaming service, other individuals and outlets were able to see the listing on the United States version of the service. So there you can see it right there. Season 2 coming September 28th. Trailer now streaming. And so just last week, Lucasfilm confirmed the second season of the animated series would release sometime this fall and release a trailer publicly to promote the news. I personally find it quite odd they did announce the release date just a week later, but perhaps at the time they did not have a date set in stone. Yeah, there's always a chance Lucasfilm wanted a release date for September 28th or whatever, but has to wait for Disney Plus to say yeah, because they have other, they're not the only thing on the service. But you would have thought they would have announced that at Celebration. I agree. This year still promises Star Wars fans some exciting content with the release of the live-action Rogue One, a Star Wars story spinoff series, Andor, which releases 2 episodes on August 31st and will run into October. We also have Dave Filoni's animated anthology series of shorts, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, which is due to release sometime this fall. And we finally have the return of Clone Force 99 with the Bad Batch Season 2, gearing up for a September 28th release. So there we go. September 28th for the Bad Batch, for the Bad Batchers. And I am actually strangely not excited by the trailer that they put out. It didn't really do that much for me, other than Gunji, because Gunji's the best. But I'm kind of excited for the show. Like I think that the clip was a bad selection, but I'm hoping that it's going to have something cool about it, like some cool angle, like what's like the thrust of the season, so to speak. Mick says Kenobi mentioned the way. Deborah is director. Quinlan smuggling force sensitive. All signs point to Grogu, in my opinion, but who knows? I mean, yeah, I think it's a logical. I think it's a logical place that you could do it. It was a logical opportunity, but by the same stretch, like when they were writing Kenobi, Mando was still writing too, and so there's a chance it was just off limits. It just wasn't on the table for the writers to do something like that, you know. But like I said, I would love for it to happen, and I'm not saying because I don't know it's not happening. I don't mean to like say that or anything like that. But yeah, Cody though, yeah, no Cody either. Like I said, the problem with that whole thing is there's like these two bromances for Kenobi with those two guys, but what happens on screen is so tiny for Cody. In fact, I wouldn't even say there's a romance on live action screen yet. So it ends up just feeling like so small compared to the Anakin stuff. So, but it would have been another layer of that theme of brotherhood between that they're kind of playing with at times. So, hey Eric, how's it going, dude? Eric, people don't know, but Eric Denton is actually the Iron Sheik. in case you weren't aware. Oh, sorry. I meant Cody and Bad Batch season 2 trailer. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's hard to keep it all straight. I got Kenobi on the brain. You know, Kenobi on the brain. It's plain to see. And then there was another story here that I wanted to touch on too before we get downtown to Chat Town, and that was this like video game story about Eye of the Tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Jedi Survivor. Let's see. Darth Maul rumored to appear in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So, just last week, highly anticipated sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was revealed at Star Wars Celebration, Jedi Star Wars Survivor, which confirmed we'd be reunited with Cal Kestis and the Mantis crew, as well as taking on some brand new villains. But a new rumor suggests that will be coming face to face with a family foe in the upcoming title. I think familiar foe in the upcoming title, according to Shipshal. I think Shipshal Nick, host of the podcast Xbox Era. Darth Maul is making an appearance in the Fallen Order sequel. Nick has had some reliable information in the past, but from doing some research, it appears his information is hit and miss. The podcast host said, I had heard that Darth Maul might be in it, but that doesn't line up with the timeline, does it? Before a co-host explained to him that Maul survived the events of the Phantom Menace and returned to Star Wars The Clone Wars. Upon hearing the information, Nick went on to say he was told about Maul over a year ago and was confused about the timeline, and he doesn't keep up with Star Wars. Before a co-host claimed that Star Wars is simply for kids, and they began to laugh at us. You sons of bitches. Sorry, I get real serious about that now. Sorry, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like if you're doing a video game podcast, might want to tone that down a little bit, because that's for kids
like,
too.
Star Wars is for kids. Hey, did you hear about the new Mario coming out? Can't wait for Ratchet and Clank 12. I mean,
yeah, but I didn't hear it, so maybe they were being facetious. I can concur that the Maul rumor was floating around some circles last year, but I hadn't heard it from anybody reputable at the time, and thus didn't hold much stock in it. Today, the rumor now coming from the Xbox Era for host, I still don't hold that much more weight in it. Yeah, also for like what it's worth, like let's just pretend that it was legit when he heard it. Hearing like that rumor a year ago with the development cycle, like they may have gone a completely different direction. Like when we see that homeboy in the tank in the trailer, like that could be the same character. and they might have just said, you know what, like let's remove Maul from this. The kind of stuff has happened with the game side of stuff a lot of times, where like all of a sudden, you know, Boba Fett's the main character or something, and then it changes. So yeah, but I mean, I guess it would be kind of cool, but you do kind of end up in a weird place. Like it would make me think that the game would be a redo of the first game, in the sense that you're going up against a villain and you're outclassed and you can't beat him.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the one thing I would want from Survivor, is that in the first game you were up against Darth Vader. Fair enough. You can't beat him. Surviving him alone was the win for Cal. I'm with you there. But if he goes up against a lightsaber fight against somebody else now, and some time has passed, you want to feel that the character is growing and becoming more powerful or whatever. But also you're probably going to go like play the first game and get all your power-ups and all your clothes, and you're going to go buy part 2 and turn it on, and you have no force powers and you have to earn them all over again. If that it's kind of a weird thing. So maybe I'm overthinking it, right? But yep, somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow Maul returned. But yeah, but I mean, they, like I said, they can't kill Maul. But my hope for Survivor is that it does tie into this path stuff, because it does seem like that's like the logical place for all of this to go. Oh yeah, something else too. When you're watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, the 3rd episode, and you look at some of the tagging on the wall, one of the names that's tagged on the wall is Caleb Doom, or Doom, the Dume. And so that means Kanan was there too. So Kanan and Voss were in that place that Leia and Kenobi were, like in that same little prefab shelter thing.
Yeah, has a lot of potential to see what characters we see down the line.
Yeah,
I think a few of them actually.
Well, and I was just going to throw it out there. I mean, I don't know if this steps on the toes of something I may have missed in Kanan's expanded universe stories or whatever, but I mean, you know, he does clearly, he ends up going and then just sort of hiding the fact that he's a Jedi, keeps his lightsaber, I think, and like makes it like fold out and stuff, right? And like, so he kind of like, you know, he goes incognito and just kind of becomes like a smuggler eventually. But maybe we're going to see Kanan there. I mean, I honestly right now, based off of that, feel like seeing Kanan is young Kanan is probably a very likely thing. And that's just my guess. But if you were going to put any cameos in there, any cameos in that place, you know, Caleb Doom would make the most sense, at least theoretically. But
I'll be down for that.
And you know, shit goes south, he may end up scattering. He may run, and then he's on the run again, and then he just ends up on his own or something like that. You know, depending on what happens there and how it actually goes down. Because we just know kind of like we just know like, yeah, like there's a big fight, that kind of stuff. You know, then we just heard like very general things about what actually happens there. Kenobi's burned. Like getting Kenobi was burned was very difficult. And then Kenobi's burned, and then he's healed. And as he healed, nobody wanted to say. And then it's just like, come on, you're protecting the path. I felt like a little inquisitor trying to find out what was going on with those guys. But yeah, there are limitations on filming and the volume. You cannot replace it in certain situations or replace in situ locations. Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen to some extent though that it really depends on the setting. Like if it's otherworldly in a place that you have no frame of reference for, then it works pretty good. And if it's heavily stylized, it could look pretty good. And then but there's like moments where it doesn't, it never looks like completely shit. You know what I mean? It's never like fucking awful. But you do kind of realize like, oh man, you know, like this doesn't look like film kind of thing. So you know, but it's like, are they gonna take a risk on you know, like how they did like the Cassian Andor thing? I still I mean, I don't know. I'd say respect to Kathleen Kennedy for giving the cash to do that one that way. I feel like it's crazy. I'm happy, but I think it has like maybe has some of the most potential of anything that they've done in quite a while. And the trailer looked great, but it's like the least. But maybe she figured Cassian being the least household of the projects that they've done, he was the one who needed the practical sets and stuff. Maybe that's where they were going
You
with
want my
it.
opinion on it?
Yeah, of
Thought
course.
about this, Jason.
Yeah.
My opinion is that that dude helped make them $1 billion, and he didn't want to make another film. He wanted to do a series, but if he's going to do a series, he wants to do this way. So he's earned his money.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, he helped them get $1 billion off something that could have tanked, and Solo proves it could have tanked pretty quickly. You know, if you'd done something that just didn't resonate with everybody, you go, well, came off the back. I'm telling you, for some reason, Solo was an actor that everybody was behind. The mass public could have made $1 billion, but it didn't. So I just think he cashed in that $1 billion check. You know,
I was thinking about it the other day. Like had things just kind of you know, if we went a time machine and Butterfly affected the shit out of the productions, like what if Solo had come out first? Then Solo probably though would have done way more money, would have done a massive amount of money in comparison. And then if Rogue One, how shitty it would have been if Rogue One had been the one that performed at the Solo level, because then they would never go back to that gritty dark like Rogue One vibe. And I was like, in a weird way, I was like, you know, I'm really, really thankful that the more happy-go-lucky one tanked than the really dark and gritty one, because I don't think they really got good data about how things perform out of that. Like, so I think a lot of shit's still on the table.
I know like the marketing made it seem happy-go-lucky, but Solo was not as happy-go-lucky like as like people that I went with were hoping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when his whole crew dies like 20 minutes into the fucking you know what I mean? They're like, we could have some more fun here.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of somber, a lot of posturing, and I think the cinematography, although I'm a big fan of that cinematography, he's super good, but like it was super dark. Like
it was super dark.
For a fun
thing,
you know. Super
oh yeah, no, I mean I'm not how do I put it? I'm not trying to label the movie as like a, you know, fucking Guardians of the Galaxy style comedy or anything necessarily, but in relation to Rogue One, it is. I think it's more, you know, because he's just a big dumb oaf. Upper Roehampton Catch Championship Wrestling says, yo, Jace, and about longtime listener, fourth time commenting. Dude, your fourth comment was by far the best. Fucking Time Bandits, says Will Morgan. Man, I remember like around the time of Time Bandits, the main dude in Time Bandits, he had this show on, might have been ABC, and it was called like The Wizard or something, and he like was like a whimsical little guy, and he made like inventions and stuff, and like he flew an airplane and stuff, and I was like really into the show, and then he committed suicide, and I was like, fuck, the world is real. Is real. I was like, the little guy is dead, you know. I was like pretty bummed about that, and like
he had one of those little mini planes in the credits. Remember, he was flying around like the one at Howard the Duck. They had those little mini planes.
Yeah,
I wanted one of those.
Yeah, he did. Was it a little plane? Was it small?
It was a little plane.
Yeah,
one of those little ones. They put that in Ninja Master 1 or 2.
Was it
Lee Van Cleef and Demi Moore?
Really?
And, yeah. Mystery Science Theater covered those 2 movies. Go watch Ninja Master 1 and 2, and you're gonna get my 2 second favorite Mystery Science Theaters of all time. But they have one of those. It's just it's one of those things where they cut 2 in a TV show, and then they're flying one. And you're like, oh yeah, everyone just has one of these fucking things.
Taika and Gilliam are definitely compatible. Yeah, they are, and it would be awesome to see somebody like from the Monty Python side of things write something for Star Wars one day. Like how, like, what was his name, wrote Labyrinth. Jonathan says, no way we're going to see a Star Wars film for 2023. It's impossible. Late 2024, yes. that is where I'm at with you. I'm with you, Jonathan. Like I said, it's going to have to be some magical stuff going on that we don't know about, which is possible, but it's going to have to be happening right now. And if they, they're not going to just start filming it and it's going to magically be done in time. And then I think even the May of 2020, 2024 still sounds like that would be pushing it to me. So the Christmas of that year sounds the most likely. The only thing that I don't remember is is that when there's an Avatar movie releasing?
Christmas 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that becomes a thing where, I personally though, I feel like if they put the movie out like 2 months before Avatar, it'd be fine. It would do just fine. They wouldn't step on each other's toes, and they could still release all of the products in time for the Christmas season or the holiday season. And I think that
I'm almost certain Cameron would be fine with before. It's the after he'd have an issue with.
That it might cut into
he makes
his
money post. Yeah, he's always seemed to make his money like over time after. Even Avatar 1 had like a $70 million opening weekend. You're like, well, how could it? Yeah, I know. That's what he does, So
Santa says, how much could they use the volume stagecraft for a full feature movie? They use it heavily for the live action streaming shows, but will it work well on the big screen? It worked like well, like Thor is using it heavily. The Batman did as well, like for like the rooftop stuff and things. And like when I look at that crazy piece of concept art for what they were showing, like that pink thing, I don't know what that was, but it makes me think that it's going to be a very neon, brightly colored kind of thing. I don't know if neons, maybe it's bright pastels, I'm not sure, but like a lot of like vibrant light and stuff in it. And I think it could work, but also, I mean, that's not to say that they won't be building sets or do anything like that. But also, what if it's like I keep throwing out there because of the Ben-Hur poster? What if the Ben-Hur thing is implying Star Wars gladiators, who then end up revolting? What if it's just like that basic premise? And if it is, then you're gonna have gladiators in Star Wars. They're not going to just be going like, here's my like chain with the ball on the end, and now we're gonna fight. Like, they're gonna make it Star Warsy, so it's gonna be nuts. I would hope, if that's what they're doing. So I would imagine a bunch of very unrealistic environments that cannot exist in reality. And then, so with that, if they go that way, then you end up with the volume working.
Jason, we're going full Mapuzo on this movie, doing the whole thing right outside in LA, right in my backyard. Gonna shoot it. Yep, just gonna be bushes and cacti. Like,
he throws a fit one day. He's like, I wanted it to rain, and me Puzo ain't wet. I want me Puzo wet. Make me Puzo wet. Kathleen Kennedy, make me Puzo wet. So, sorry.
They could just put a big planet somewhere in the sky on one of these, like that.
Yeah, Cloud City would look good in the volume.
The posters for Kenobi have this like real brownish, darker desert that looks similar to what we saw in the Volkswagen commercial.
Okay.
Right?
I just deleted that.
And I'm hoping
I would have played it.
I'm hoping that we see that look and that environment in the series. Just something with like these kind of off-red planets in the background, something a little bit more, because Tatooine is I accept that it has an Earth-like, minus the twin suns, but I was just hoping for something, I don't know, man, like, well, if it doesn't have to be giant dicks coming out the front, that'd be fun. But I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it could. So like,
if you look at the sun and you cross your eyes, you could pretend that you're on Tatooine.
Like, imagine this is a mining planet, and then so everywhere up in the sky is like a giant asteroid belt, and these asteroids fall down and they're mining them. Like, it's just stuff like that. You know what I mean? That you could get that just take it a little ways out of, just a normal Earth-like environment. Just saying. little something for the artists. For I know Star Wars isn't known for its music or editing or visual effects. It's all about the story with Star Wars. So like, but for those of us who kind of got into it for all that other stuff, it would be fun. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Blake says some friends said they want to see Quinlan Boss and Kenobi now after the name drop because it makes more narrative sense. If they brought in a Jedi, I think Cal would be better for that role. Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, like realistically, anybody who said Cal, who said Voss, who said Grogu, like I don't think anybody isn't making like potential sense. You know what I mean? Like all of that seems like it could happen. But what I'm going to say to keep everybody's hopes in check, what if it's people like Roken? And Roken could be a secret Jedi for all I know, but to the best of my knowledge, he's not. Okay. So we're going to assume that, and he's a partisan. So I think we're going to see partisans there who are relocating those people. And so I think it just maybe it happens. So I don't know if we're going to see hi, I am Jedi Cobb Van Dor Dion blop blop kaboth. I don't know if we're going to see like that kind of thing or not. Or if it's just going to be like refugees who are like, oh, thanks, man. I got many Chlorians. Then I'm going to, Tatooine to live now. Like it might just be shit like that. And so I'm not really sure what to expect. But also, when you have like Cal and Quinlan there, if they all do get wiped out, if it does go really south, then we end up in a bad place for that, because then we have like, oh, cool, I got to see Quinlan Boss. Now he's dead. Like Quinlan's like there's a great potential there.
Little side note on that about putting Cal in live action. Careful what you wish for, because when I watch these, when I play Fallen Order, I didn't beat it, but I played it. It's cool. I like it. And I watched the movies. It's great. I love I thought the new trailer visually fantastic. These games look great. I'm not seeing the visual stylings of these games in live action, so far.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I just don't want. I think if you get this look in that trailer and then you end up with the TV show where it don't look like that, I'm just warning you, careful, careful what you wish for a little bit. So, but so we'll see.
Yeah, it is a little bit strange. I feel like one of the reasons why the stagecraft stuff is getting hit so hard this time around specifically is just that the actual like backgrounds themselves aren't super amazing. Like, and what I mean is like when you start Jedi Fallen Order and you're walking at the beginning and you're like in the Republic Star Destroyer graveyard, if you will, and like you'll see them out there and there's just like these like amazing backgrounds like in the game itself, and that's a video game. Well, and this is not unlike it, like, so they could do like I think they could be doing I think they could up that the background visuals.
Also, I know I've been pretty pro, like their first movie probably should be Mandalorian, but they're doing the Taika movie. Okay, after this Fallen's Jedi Survivor game, I mean, taking this look, this actor, this story, and completing it on the big screen might be their second smartest bet to make. Because you have a giant install base that, like, you know what I mean? Like you have with 2 games, and if you want to get caught up, buy the games. You already got games out before the movie, you can see the movie. Like, it's just, I think like, and with the visual look of it, like then if you do it on film, then they'll get the scale and the design of it down. So perhaps that's the better way to go. Resolve instead of like 12 episodes of another long story that a game's gonna, it's gonna cover way more story in a game just because of you have to make a 40-hour game now, right? But doing a simpler story that resolves whatever's left over after this next game as a film, that wouldn't be such a bad idea, Like you got an actor tied to it, you got a look, a story.
Yeah. I mean, and also like for what it's worth, like when it comes to the Taika Waititi movie, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's just be wild and just think outside the box here. What if he's making a Quinlan Boss movie? What if he is? Quinlan Boss is both like he has these two sides to him. One side is hilarious and it's comedic, and then the other side is super spy. So there is a chance that like he could be doing something like that. Like, wouldn't it be rad if the path ended up being like the movie he was making? But I don't think that's going to happen or anything. But I hope they tell us a little bit about what the like why we should care other than it being Taika, like, which is a lot. Taika's pretty rad, so I completely fucking get it. The thing is that's all I have to do. Mm-hmm.
How many Jedi are we talking about survive past right before episode 4, right? Like, how many are
we're well, no, it's not just that though. In terms of like, these are Force sensitives, so every day over those 10 years there are
Quinlan
babies.
Boss is a real Jedi, he's just a Force.
Yes,
I thought he was like an actual like
no. Quinlan Boss is an actual Jedi. And
that's what I'm talking
in
about.
fact, he's the most legit of them. He's maybe the only Jedi George Lucas said gets to live into the Dark Times concept.
He was just out surfing.
Yeah, like pretty much. Like, yeah, they called him the Jedi dude, but then he gets real serious. And then the Dark Horse comics had it where like he goes deep undercover. And when he's undercover, he ends up having to get down, and he ends up having a kid, and because he's in deep cover, Jedi gotta do it sometimes. They gotta do it, and then but he ends up like kind of like in the comics, like falling to the dark side, and it's all oh my god, I'm evil now kind of stuff. But the Clone Wars show brought him in and put him with Kenobi, and he was like he was the Big Lebowski 100% in the show. And Kenobi's an uptight British guy. And so they had a dynamic though. That was actually like, I wouldn't say it was like the best thing in the world, but I could see Ewan McGregor with a good guy in that role. I could see them really playing off of each other well, because Voss just annoyed Kenobi and was like so laid back and like doesn't take things seriously, kind of like goes with the flow and lets the Force deal with it and kind of gets there in his own way. But I don't think we're going to be seeing Voss in this, but I will say Voss was always a popular character. People always liked the look of him, and he always said like I think his comic books generally sold pretty well at the time when they were put out, and he was going to die in Order 66. He was going to be on a tank that was just blown up by another separatist tank or something like that. And then Lucas decided to keep him for Star Wars Underworld, the TV show he never got to make. And so that character was just always out there, like kind of in the ether, waiting for something to happen. He used him in Clone Wars and introduced him. And then, but they never went anywhere with him. And he had a book with Ventress where he kind of like, and it's the book where like Ventress dies. And it was a good book, and it was an unproduced Clone Wars script that they then adapted to a novel. And I think that might be the last time we really had anything significant from Voss. And then this name drop here is is a good sign that maybe we will get something from him or for him. But I don't know. He would be a good guy though to. If they were to take this concept of the path and turn it like, let's just pretend Disney Plus, the path, Star Wars, the path. And it's about, this underground railroad, and you got Rokin and you got Voss in it and stuff like that. Like there's, and Saw Gerrera and stuff could be cool as potential. That character has a lot of potential if they
I just thought they were implying that Taika movie existed after 9. You know what I mean? I thought they were like,
no, only
Skywalker saga, unless they're taking it way before.
No. Rogue Squad. Well, no. So Rogue Squadron was going to be after 9, is what they implied. And then when it came to the Taika stuff, at one point, Kathleen Kennedy was like, "Oh, we're not afraid of that era. We're going to be exploring that in film." And then people thought it meant the Taika thing, but then a bunch of the journalists started like rolling back their quotes on that for some reason. So I think she may have misspoken, or or they just didn't want it out there and asked them to remove it, and they did. But yeah. So is the Taika thing post episode 9? We don't know. I don't think we. I don't. In fact, people were because of the Ben-Hur logo. People were thinking it was an ancient Star Wars. It was like before the High Republic, before the Old Republic, or it was like Old Republic Star Wars or something like that. But I don't know, man. Like when I don't know how you really. I don't know. I don't from the Ben-Hur logo, what you extrapolate from that is, to me, it just says gladiators, slaves fighting to the death with rebellion for freedom. Like that's what I have you seen Ben-Hur?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Bro, I went back and rewatched it when they were like the chariot, the pod race was based off Ben-Hur, and I'm like, all right, I'll watch this again. Then I was like, I think that horse died.
I know.
When they fell over, I was like, that's I grew up in I cleaned out horse stalls. I'm like, that ain't good. You know, some of them shots, man.
Let me ask you though, like when you see Star Wars emulating the Ben-Hur logo, where does your brain go as an artist? Like what do you think their intention likely is? I guess no, we can't know, but
honestly,
what's your best guess?
I didn't see. I just figured 60s, 70s cinema. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like more like the David Lean kind of like, you know.
Okay.
You know, a little bit of that kind of retro. I get more of a retro vibe from it than anything else. It was that weird shape picture that Chris sent us that I was like, well, that I don't know what the fuck that means. That whatever that was. Yeah.
Like my mind just starts putting it all together, and I was like, that weird shape thing is the arena. That was my
which is fine, but I just got like 60s kind of like, you know, I mean, which I thought maybe they were gonna do when we first watched Boba and Black Chrysanthemum showed up, right? I was like, oh, is that tied into that somehow? But after that, I'm like, look, folks, until I see otherwise, I don't think much of them are connected, other than it says Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, but while they're in production, I just don't feel much is connected. I think later on down the road, they go, oh, we could tie it to this, and then it tends to like be tied in somehow. Like, like, I don't think when Favreau and them set out, they were like, let's figure out how the First Order was. We'll put that in Mandalorian somehow, or Snoke, or cloning. I don't really think that was there. It's just something that kind of comes out after the fact. So,
Dez says, hey, fellas, I become obsessed with Vader's home life and downtime on Mustafar. Is he just in the tank 24/7 until another problem arises? Maybe he's growing a little weed in the backyard for the pain. Yeah, that's my guess. You know, is that he's just still completely, you know, it's probably a situation where if it wasn't for the dark side, he would die. He'd be dead. But he's, you know, keeping himself alive, so he needs this that tank, and he probably just soaks in it every day. But at the same time, I mean, when we get to Empire Strikes Back, we don't see him doing that for what it's worth. So maybe he doesn't need it. I mean, that is years later, but he does have like that breathing chamber thing that he hangs out in, you know. But clearly the breathing thing never gets fixed for him. So yeah, I guess it's a choose your own adventure. Well, there's 100 people here right now. Hey, like the video, please. Thank you. Luz says, just got here. What does Rob and Chris think of Kenobi season 2? And
Chris loves it.
Chris loves it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag for me. I don't hate it. It's just I'm 50-50. So
I love it.
That's the short end of it.
I'm in love with that. I want to marry it.
I love a lot of the acting. Jimmy Smits, little Leia. What's her face? The sand snake. For Indira Varma. I can't pronounce it.
Indira Varma.
Remember? Yeah, she was fantastic.
Tala's perfect.
Tala's great. Yeah. It's this other stuff. It's 50-50 for me. So.
Yeah. I think for me, just like accepting it's like the universe is like as a TV show universe, not a cinematic one. Just fixed it all for me. I was like, okay, that's what it looks like now. I see it. Okay, you know. And then I was able to roll with it a lot more. Like right now, I feel like the 3 episodes collectively with the amount of content that I care about and love in it and the concentration, it's like an 8 for me, you know? And but I think this 4th episode is going to be really, really important to how the overall thing comes out. So I'm curious to see if this next episode feels like it slams on the brakes, or if it ups the intrigue and then we go from there. So I'm not disappointed so far, not in a big way, but Star Wars Tennis says, Jason, one of the names on the wall was Caleb Doom. Meg runs around her apartment screaming, Kanan! Kanan! No, she calls him Kanan. And we're like, Meg, it's Kanan. She's all, no, it's Kanan. That was the thing, by the way, when that book came out. I was at Comic-Con and they were giving out free copies of the book to like the first whatever amount of people. Made sure to get myself one, got it and reading it. And then yeah, people were insisting it was Kanan, which was pretty funny. But luckily it premiered right then and I didn't go too far. But man, I wish they had a little pronunciation guide to some of these Star Wars names at times. Jedi Mike says, hopefully this means good things for Kanan Hera's story and Kenobi's story, both by Jonathan Jackson Miller. It could. I mean, I would imagine that the good stuff there will be informing it, you know. But Jelani says, think you could get some scoops on Bad Batch? Honestly, the cartoon stuff is the hardest thing to get scoops on because it's not like they film it. And then the animation is usually done in a country where I can't speak to them. I don't know how to get sources for that. To be honest, I'm just being honest.
Fan out there.
We do have. Well, he was saying out in Singapore, for instance, that they like all speak English, but you know, when I don't know, I've never seen a point of contact for somebody working on that show, for instance, and I've never had somebody from like CG leak to me ever. So it's definitely interesting. But yeah, but I mean, if I ever get anything, you know, gladly I'll put it out. Chillmonger says Reva lives. Apparently that is going to be the case. You know, hey Arya, how are you? Disney could 100% quickly bring Ewan and Moses back to film something for episode 6. They have plenty of time, and Ewan just needs to wear a hood and hide his haircut. Easy fix. I mean, it's a little bit easier said than sure. Done on that. And in terms of that, the hair, if the hair's short, they could give him a wig and put the hood up at the same time, and it would probably be very, very passable. It's more of like when they give him the wigs before and he had long hair with the short wig on top, that's a bad idea. Or like when he had grew the beard out really, and then they give him a fake beard because he didn't have it. That's when it was bad. So that stuff's like all completely possible. But the thing about that is they would have already have had to have filmed it to best of my knowledge, they didn't, but maybe they did. You know, maybe they did. Is what I'm going to say. But because I don't know. I haven't like gone through. I just learned what we're essentially talking about yesterday, so I haven't had much time, you know, to talk to anybody or whatever. Darren says, Josh said on today's Deno Nerd stream that he wants to have positive Star Wars fans on his show to help convince them to not get triggered anymore. Having Megan sent on, we need Jason as well. Somebody made a comment. No, but somebody made a comment triggered because they don't know who Josh is, and they're all, this fucking fandom is crazy. Everyone's just worried about what some guy named Josh thinks. Who the fuck is Josh? And I was like, exactly. Yeah, if people want to come hang out on the show, he is welcome though. I mean, I don't hate the guy or anything like that, but I think it's a bit silly. Chris says HBO's series Raised by Wolves does an excellent job adding alien-looking flora and fauna to Joshua Tree, California, set to look distinctly alien planet. Yeah, it did. That did do a good job. I haven't watched the second season of that, and I don't know if I remember the end of the first, but I was enjoying watching it. It was trippy. Cal actor is expensive? No, I don't think so.
No, he's dirt cheap.
dirt cheap. You went right from the fucking jugular. You're like, he's dirt cheap.
It said it on his business card. When I inquired,
Cal
he handed it, said,
Kestis,
Cal actor,
dirt cheap. Cal Kestis.
It didn't help. He was working at AM/PM when I went too. You know, I was trying to wheeze the juice, and he does not like that because
yesterday, me and Bestman were playing Fortnite for a few minutes, and I had to explain 7-Eleven. He knew about like from like rap songs and stuff, but he was like, "Is it really that good?" I'm like, "You know what? No, it's just a gas station, but you know, it's consistent.
Japan.
It's consistent."
No,
there's
7-Eleven Japan is fucking amazing, bro.
There are videos with like travel bloggers, and they'll do these like popular series where they go to 7-Elevens in different countries to get like the unique foods there. It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Germany didn't have 7-Eleven, but they did have a version of Pringles I've only been able to get in Germany, which was Parmesan and onion. And my friend, there's no better flavor of Pringles than that. Like it came in a purple canister. So good.
Jedi Mike says O'Shea Jackson is a partisan or Voss. He's a partisan named Roken, to the best of my knowledge. That is what everyone told me. So I would expect that to be the case. Also, and no disrespect to O'Shea Jackson Jr. He's a little portly, and Voss is very much like non-Gianni, all ripped up and stuff. Unless O'Shea Jackson is like ripped right now and I don't know or something, which is totally possible. I just don't want him to beat me up. Voss plus Mace Lives, 2 kick-ass gentlemen, Jedi Adventures, right? Yeah, I mean, what if Mace Windu is there? Think about that. Now, see that's where we start doing that kind of shit, and then we're gonna get there. It's gonna be a bunch of like just generic people that are like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, just Star Wars cameos. Just make that serious. Like it's just everyone gets their cameos. They can all chill, and
Yeah. Ari says there's no way that Disney doesn't up the budget and get the hell out of California and stop using that damn volume. Higher budget and amazing looking locations equals perfection. Yeah, I know. I mean, the world is big and the world is small. They are in a weird way kind of starting to run out of earthly locations that are like, I'm not saying that, but like the big ones, like the big obvious ones, they're kind of starting to have used them up. And I do think that they're going to have to start getting really creative, like with those backgrounds and trying a bit harder. But like, the production was always called Joshua Tree. And that's because the planet was supposed to look like Joshua Tree. Pretty obvious to me now when I see it. But that said, I would love if they were able to start to think of creative ways to make California work, like there are things that you can, do. I'm just gonna be stupid. I'm gonna do the stupid lazy, but like, for instance, we have like palm trees in the background, make them fucking purple, add some giant fucking like CGI berries on them or something. You know what I'm saying? Though, like, where you're just like, I don't see that when I go to Southern California, like make it, dress it up is what I'm saying. And a lot of that's kind of the problem. But I will say I don't dislike the Joshua Tree planet. Mapuzo. I'm okay with it actually. When I was watching it, there's a lot. They actually did a couple of really beautiful like shots, like the shot of Anakin, and also though like there's a couple of shots of Leia and Obi-Wan like in the field, and I'm like, this looks like really good in terms of like photographic quality of it was just super good. And then they added some matte paintings in the background, like some mats and stuff like in the periphery to give it like a little bit of a better vibe. And so I started to get a sense of like what that planet was like in a way, but I do think that was bare minimum efficacy is what I would call it. Like, I don't think it worked in Mandalorian's book of the Mandalorian's Boba Fett episode. I thought that just looked like a fan film to me, and truly it did. But Jay Antonio says, what if Vader fights and defeats Maul? And that's why he knows he cannot defeat him in Rebels. It could go that way. It's completely possible.
I wonder, Jason, is it possible to financially build a hangar? Like if you have a hangar sized area that had a, an internal volume 360 degree where they could dress the inside pretty well, like similar when you go to the upside down, like in Stranger Things, like can they dress that? I mean, you couldn't up and downs, right? Like hills can't really do that without being outside on some level. But at the same time, like I guess it's just where green screen comes in. Like that's where, see, this is where I just go, man, just if they're touting that this is the #1 show on Disney Plus, bigger than all the Marvel stuff, then it's making its money, like extended a bit. All the hangar stuff, all the ship stuff, all the walking around a basic city, like the ring planet stuff, perfect, But when you go outside, just go outside, I guess, like I guess just do it and put the money in color grading and visual effects, whatever you got to do to pump that up a bit. Because those exterior, people want to know, can you just show me one thing you liked, Rob? The exterior stuff that ILM did on this show, man, like the Alderaan city shots and the Mustafar shot, phenomenal. Like really good. Like I could just look at that all day, like just keep that on a animated wallpaper or whatever, like on my PC and stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Skylord says, is Ahsoka only filming in Los Angeles? Yes. Don't get me wrong, the volume is great, but I feel they need more variety in filming locations since they're going to be lots of new places. So expect it to look just like Hope for Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett at worst, and but hope for something better. That's all I could say. It's the same stuff, the same place, the same locations. It's all the same place. But the thing about it is like the volume does have a look to it when they're that we can identify. Yeah. But at the same time, if you make the backgrounds in the volume exotic and intriguing, then there's a shot that it won't feel like it's all the same stuff. But they definitely, I think, need to start putting more into it, because even that one set is pretty amazing, and the one with Haja, like that's a volume set. You're just sitting in a chair. There's like nothing else is like in the little desk, and then all the other stuff is all fake, and it looks really it looks good, but at the same time, like my like to overthink it and to critique it a little bit, the room it has like no lived in qualities to it for the most part.
No, it's empty with detailed walls.
Yeah.
Empty with detailed walls, as opposed to like if you look at the Urso's living quarters and the opening of Rogue One, where it's clearly someone lives in there, like it's completely two different deals. So
right.
Dirty and grimy.
Like anything else, like when George did the digital look, it all has its place, and then you refine over time, and my hope is that they just find out what is that balance. That's where I'm like, man, people in spaceships, like makes a lot of sense with the volume, like little like military like ship stuff, you know what I mean? Going around, going to those hangar shots, quite cool, because you actually, I think the hangar shots, not just in Mando and this, have done quite well. You're able to get a lot of kind of shots that they didn't get before, probably more effectively than just without having to build a 20-foot tall TIE fighter.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are pretty good. But yeah, like that room where he's in, it's like all empty with a desk in the middle and then really detailed walls. Like, all right. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the Vanity Fair article right now so that we could get locked out of it. But
I love that. That's my favorite part of the show. And then Meg likes to show up in the morning where she just has because she just has it. She's like, boom, there's the full thing. It's like, well played, Meg. Well played.
And my computer really chugs when I'm streaming.
Vanity.
Like the other browser tabs.
Right.
Okay. Nope, that's the original one. God, who cares about the fucking queen not dying? Like, I don't give a shit. Fucking Vanity Fair readers like, oh my god, the queen's whatever. They flew helicopters over it. Oh my god, it's crazy. All right, here it is. Fuck it. This article ain't doing too much. There's like 10 retweets from Vanity Fair itself. Probably because you lock everybody out and they're fucking tired of being locked out. Okay. All right. I'm in the article. Do I put do I risk trying to put the article on screen is the question.
Or do you just read it out?
Well, whenever I go to share, sometimes it gets mad at me and it makes me like it acts like you minimize the tab. Oh, now you gotta log in and pay us. All right, I'm gonna try it though.
You want a tab? You gotta pay for something, Jason. You gotta pay for the Vanity Fair. You want a tab open? Can I just get a spoiler?
Fuckers!
Gotcha! Just want something without spoilers in it, like coffee or whatever.
Oh man.
Well, here we go right here. If you buy Vanity Fair, you could get this great article of these douchebags, or this douchebag, or that douchebag, or whatever.
The only people that can afford to go on the Galactic Starship.
It's so fucking frustrating. Hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. Right, copy link address. I'm going to try to paste it back in on this thing. Now, I went back and see if it lets me do it. It was letting me read it. Obi-Wan Kenobi's at the halfway point. The Star Wars fans need a deep Vader-like breath. 3 of the new series, 6 episodes have aired and already have revelations, have been shattering and surprising for longtime followers of the galaxy far, far away. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The distressing opening scene at the Jedi Temple, the introducing of young Leia, the Grand Inquisitor's questionable fate, Darth Vader's fiery vengeance. It's a lot to take in. So buy our fucking thing. Man, you know what? We're going to take this back to the old country. Vanity Fair can suck it. Vanity Fair can suck it.
Deploy
it,
the
Vanity
mobiles,
Fair.
Jason.
Entertainment Weekly needs to hire Bresnikan back. That's what I say. Vanity Fair needs to start acting like Entertainment Weekly, because they're just like, it's really cool that my fucking grandma is going to know about this shit, but I'm not, you know.
Santa still uses a clamshell, Jason. All about the clam, Jason. Oh, Santa.
You ever see those
working in a little thing there?
You ever see those like ads for like that old people phone that doesn't do anything? Like if you're forced to watch like Fox News or something like that, you'll like end up seeing it sometimes. And it's like a phone for like really old people. And it's like, I can't remember what it's called though. It's like a jitterbug or something like that. It's really fucking hilarious. I really considered getting one and being like, yep, this is my phone. Nope, I can't use the internet now. Sorry, I just can't. It's impossible for me.
It has updated dates and times. I can see the weather. It lets me know when Obama's coming in town so I can run.
No, Grandma, you don't have to be racist.
I'm afraid. They're going to take my guns. You don't own guns, but they could take them.
Like, you don't own a gun, Grandma. Like, what do you...
I want to live in a world where they could take my guns.
So I went and made a new account.
Nice.
Oh.
And then after that, you know what it did to me? It kicked me out back to the fucking Queen article again. not
we know it's you, Jason. We're watching the show.
Not the good Queen either, like the fucking shitty Queen, you know? Not the one that's out like, you know, making cool songs and fucking the night away. It's just the boring ass Queen.
The one that made all them solo albums we don't listen to. Yeah.
All right.
It's not good.
Joby Harold, the head writer and an executive producer of the series, This one's on us. Thanks. Joby Harold, the head writer and an executive producer of the series, spoke with Vanity Fair and did not hold back on any subject. And the Disney Plus series is the Disney Plus series changing established Star Wars canon? In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. Harold says Obi-Wan Kenobi will reward patience. He and director and executive producer Deborah Chow's shared goal was to deepen perspective on the story fans already know. I got pulled back a little bit on that, Harold says. It's awful, but he should be awful. He's Darth Vader. A spoiler warning. If you weren't caught up, read no further. Vanity Fair says, oh, by the way, I was on Twitter, right? And somebody, like some outlet, like redid my story, and tweeted it out. And this person is like dead serious. They're all thanks for spoiling that he lives or dies in the season about Kenobi. They weren't being funny. I see people make the joke. This person wasn't being funny. I was like, this world is fucked. We are doomed.
Nuts.
So Vanity Fair says, let's begin with Young Leia by Vivian Lyra Blair. What was your thinking as you put pen to paper and began showing us Leia as a little girl in Alderaan? Joby says, obviously, to bring Obi-Wan out of hiding, there has to be pretty good reason for him to leave Luke. Sorry, I should be wearing my glasses. What would be seismic enough to make him do so? Acknowledges the importance of the Luke Leia equation that sometimes has been forgotten. Why is Obi-Wan watching one of them and not the other? It's always seemed a little unfair to me. That allowed us to look at the weight of the responsibility in a slightly different way. Having her be the call to action made her important legacy-wise at a young age, and as important as the farm boy was. It was a great opportunity to surprise the audience. There are plenty of rumors, but her presence managed to stay hidden until the debut. Oh, fuck you, Bresnikan. You know that's bullshit. You fucking know that's bullshit. I think marketing did a good job of hiding the football on that. Whatever, dude. I wasn't sure how the audience would embrace it until the premiere screening at Celebration, when we cut to Alderaan and the room lost its mind. It was so nice to see that they really enjoyed the notion of seeing this character in a more nescient form. Everyone has noted young Leia's sassy asides. What influence did Carrie Fisher have on how you wrote her? And he says, the goal was to craft the character in such a way that honored what Carrie had done, but also got to play a little bit of the nature versus nurture question, where you see that she's the best of her mother and her father, Natalie Portman's Padme Amidala and Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. But you also get to see her adopted parents, played by Jimmy Smits and Simone Kessel, and how they have formed who she becomes too. She's very much a byproduct of all of these people. And we're getting to see the untold story of how Kenobi was a part of her growing up too. That now informs, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. It helps explain why she would call her son Ben one day. There are lovely pieces of the puzzle that are now complete that we didn't even know we needed to be completed. So, and then they go on to say, what were some of your influences in depicting the relationship after he rescues her? It's the opportunity to have a two-hander in the middle of a show. I looked at Paper Moon, Santa. Motherfucker. I told you guys. I looked at Paper Moon and I looked at Midnight Run a little bit. Those are some of my favorite movies. You don't want to push it too far. Obviously, that's not where the show is, but it's nice to give the energy to it a little. And then it comes down to castings. She's such a terrific young actor. So there we go. We got our Paper Moon confirmation, Santa. Me and Santa are going to do a whole Paper Moon show now. What else do you hope young Leia conveys? In episode 3, we start to skirt the edges of Padme. She's part of the story as well, the echoes of her. Obi-Wan seeing her eyes and in her daughter's eyes is very potent. Vanity Fair then says, or asks, The series began with what was a very disturbing scene, especially shocking given the terrible tragedy in Texas just a week before. Order 66, the extermination of the Jedi, played a lot differently in that context. I'm guessing it probably played differently when you wrote it versus when it aired. Why start the show with the clone troopers shooting their way through the classes at the Jedi Temple? It was part of the story that had been told before, and telling it again was a reminder to the audience of where this all began, where Obi-Wan's journey began. That's why it was in the show. But I'm a father of 3 with everything happening in the world. It certainly wasn't something within the context of events recently. That was easy to watch, but it was a necessity. But it was necessary part of Obi-Wan's story. It began in a story about a Jedi who is in hiding, who has to face his past. So then Vanity Fair says it shows why he is hiding, that nobody is protected. Nobody was shown any mercy by the dark side when they came hunting Jedi. Yes, it's always. Well, I'm sorry, I need to put my glasses on. This is not ideal. Yes, it's a way of establishing the stakes. The stakes are high for everyone right from the beginning. When they become higher and higher and higher, when Obi-Wan's being forced to go out and be exposed, to be more in the spotlight because of Leia. So what he's saying all seems like pretty smart so far. Obi-Wan really does hold back. He doesn't use his lightsaber when we first expect it. He seemingly can't connect with the Force until he has to save Leia from a fall. Tell me about making the audience patient for those things. And then he goes on to say, I heard something that J.J. Abrams had said years ago. It should be a massive moment when a Jedi uses the Force. So you can't ever throw it away. That really sat with me. You really have to earn the moment. He shouldn't just use it to pull his cup of coffee closer while he's sitting in his cave. Only Leia could pull that out of him. So, and then Vanity Fair says, that's why we met Kamal Nanjiani's character, and he's using the Force to close the windows, like he's a fraud. You're exactly right. Only a fake Jedi would throw it away on shutters and nonsense like that. It's funny watching this scene at Celebration too, because I know the character so well, but the audience didn't, and you could feel it in the room. Are you just doing a really bad job with this Jedi? Before they realized what was going on. I love the character. And then Vanity Fair says, if anybody has anything to say, by all means, just stop me. It reminds me of the mediums and spiritualists from the last century who were basically con artists. And he says, having a fake Jedi felt like such a fun thing to add to the vocabulary of Star Wars. The guy is completely full of it, using a bunch of bandits and nonsense, but I love the character. And then Vanity Fair says, I was impressed by your and director Deborah Chow's willingness to go into the despair of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This wasn't a guy who was lying low and eager to get back to the fight. He really had given up. And then Joby says, it was massively important. I fought very hard for it. There were some who say Jedi would never give up hope and would never say the time of the Jedi is done. But it was very important to me that the audience felt that. Hope is a big word in Star Wars. You don't want to take it for granted as a precursor to existence as a Jedi. The notion that he would find it, even in the smallest glimmer of it, on his journey and have it reignite, which is part of the episode 3 is where he meets Indira Varma's character Tala and learns of the path, that he's not alone. If he began in a place of feeling at peace and centered, those things wouldn't have landed in the same way. I agree with them there.
I'm not disagreeing with this. What I'm saying is like, if you have that opening sequence with those kids,
right?
And if it had kept going just a little bit longer, where maybe they make it to a room and they see Obi-Wan put out that message, like, run, hide, or whatever, you know what I mean? But never give up hope or something, And it's like, and then they go, that's right, we never will, clap. And then you cut to Obi-Wan 10 years later, and he's clearly given up hope, but they didn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it would just sell these ideas in a way that they're all there, but like, man, you gotta like, sometimes I did so much stretching with the prequels, Jason, as a fan, to like put in things that are they're loosely there, that it's like, I just want Star Wars to like clearly say some stuff sometimes, and in a way that like it's there. I just wish it completed it in a way where you're like, that's it, boom, you know.
Yeah,
like,
well,
juxtaposition.
But yeah, it's like at the same time, like doing that and not making it convoluted is, I think, always the problem that they're up against. Because they have to make like these stories track for dummies at the same time. Fucking dummies.
But I do think they should have, maybe we could have seen them get in an escape pod and they could have just flown somewhere,
Yeah.
and we know that they're alive. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's a missed opportunity.
But
Well, those like kids in the beginning.
The kids.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's Reva, and that we're gonna see more of that. So that still may happen. I wouldn't hold my breath, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But all right. So Vanity Fair says, I want to talk about the dark side characters because I think in fantasy storytelling, sometimes bad guys are very dastardly, but not actually evil. In this, you have Reva attack a woman just for speaking up, and she cuts her hand off. We learn in that moment she is willing to be cruel in order to get what she wants. Tell me about that. And then Joby says, she's so brilliantly performed by Moses Ingram, defining how singular of purpose she is through action and not just through monologuing was very important. It's having her be unpredictable, having her choices be sudden. And that scene, there's a legacy. Obi-Wan does that in Star Wars, you know, the original Star Wars. And then Vanity Fair says, that's a really good point. He does cut off a guy's arm in the cantina. And he says, it has to be done sometimes. The effectiveness is in the way Deb covers the scene. It feels so sudden and immediate and speaks to Reva, always impatiently wanting to push the agenda and wanting to achieve her goal. So,
and have you seen how we treat interns at Disney? Sometimes you just got to cut an arm off, right? Like, they won't fucking learn nothing.
so Vanity Fair goes for the clarification. Reva devises the plan to kidnap young Leia as a way of drawing Obi-Wan out of hiding. I've seen some criticism where people say, why didn't Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor do that before? Or why didn't they go after adoptive father Bail Organa since he was in the Galactic Senate? Can you explain why the Empire would be restrained at this point in the story? And Joby says, I think you said it very well. The Empire is in control, but they are a body that exists within the day-to-day life of citizens of the galaxy. Many people believe they are doing what has to be done. There are people that sympathize with and believe in them. The Inquisitors aren't acting like renegade hotshots, cruising around going against the wishes of the Empire. Reva's unpredictability isn't consistent with their operating procedure. Certainly, going after a senator's daughter is very much off limits. Reva's discovery of the potency of the relationship between Bail and Obi-Wan and taking advantage of that is certainly not within the playbook. So and then they said the Empire is still trying to act like they're not so bad. In other words, yes. But when she calls them out on the hypocrisy too, she says, we've done worse. We've established her as being more impulsive, more committed to her own personal goals. So it felt like we created enough room for her character to push further than they would. So, which I think that was pretty readable in the episode. That was in episode 2. Reva drives her lightsaber into her superior, the Grand Inquisitor. Yet we saw him meet his end a different way in the animated show Rebels. Is there a breaking canon there? And he says, as you know, we would never break canon. So that's all I'll say. Laughs. Canon is everything. So, yeah. I mean, but that's what I was promising everybody.
George feels the same way.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not breaking canon though. It's not breaking canon. No? I don't think so. I mean, it's not like, I don't know. It's not like it's like religion and like, you know, all of a sudden, like, it's a made up story and then they just added to their made up story. I don't think it breaks. I think it breaks canon if Luke says, I hate blue milk. And then in the next scene is drinking blue milk. You know, or I don't drink blue milk.
From a certain point of view.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, but it's like, you know, like the whole breaking canon thing. I think it's just way overused by fans to mean I had an expectation.
It's a stupid phrase.
And then now it's been filled in. But like what would break canon is if like Batman's parents show up and they go out to Chili's for dinner. Like that's breaking canon. But yeah,
I'll say this though, Jason, like the breaking canon thing is annoying. However, like if you're just saying breaking expectations based on the story we were presented, then yeah, George has been doing that since the first movie. Or since ultimately the third film, right? And where with Leia and if Obi-Wan knew that was his sister, there's no way he'd let Luke get a hard on over her.
Yeah,
so
of course,
there's just no way, dude. You just wouldn't. You just wouldn't. But when you're tired of hearing it as much as I am, understand that's also how I feel about when I got super liberal Star Wars friends of mine who keep telling me Rey is nobody. It's like you keep saying this 100 fucking times because you don't want to have a legitimate conversation about the quality of, say, a story being told, and you just keep throwing that one phrase. I don't think that's what Ryan was going for when he wrote the script.
Oh,
you know,
you didn't know I got hired to write the sequel trilogy, and now you're going to find out that Palpatine's middle name was nobody. Sheev, nobody.
I've
Palpatine.
been saying that,
and he was always going, "I'm going to become somebody." And then, so that was actually just foreshadowing that she was nobody.
Look,
Palpatine.
Kenobi's name is Obi, but his brother's name was Nobody, nobody, right? So she's really Kenobi's brother's daughter. So she nobody.
So they basically say like fans shouldn't forget about retconning. And he's all, I can't speak to it beyond that. We all know where we're going in the show from previous films and TV shows. So anytime you can undercut that, pull the rug on that, have a reversal. And and that's, I mean, can you imagine like watching a show or a series about somebody at a different part of their life that you didn't know anything about and you didn't learn anything new about them? That there was nothing interesting
like 7 episodes of it,
like, well, no, we learned that he wants to rule with respect. So remember that. That's 7 episodes of that's how bold it was. That's how strongly he felt about it. Respect it. Rule with it. Was it like watching Benedict first says, was it like watching that scene at the premiere at Star Wars Celebration with thousands of fans in the audience who knew the full arc of the character, or did they? And then he says, I was sitting with Rupert Friend, who plays the Grand Inquisitor. I was right in the front of him when it happened, and we talked about it before, and I was like, how's this gonna be? It was an audible gasp. The people were not expecting that at all. That was quite gratifying because that's the intention to show. It begins with the Grand Inquisitor, grandstanding and enjoying the sound of his own voice. I don't think we anticipate that suddenly being cut off as it was.
Jason, this sounds great. Jedi Master Noob Udi, right? Like that would be great, right? Noob Udi Kenobi, right?
Yeah.
I'm Noob Udi Kenobi.
Well, once again, like I was saying on Santa's show, as the new writer of Kenobi season 3, I'm going to circumvent your expectations, and his name is just Tony Kenobi. And he does drywall. His brother was a Jedi. He doesn't understand that shit. It's weird to him.
Tony Kenobi, I live in Mapuzo, hey!
But anytime he wants to come down to here to Mapuzo, my wife Melissa will make him dinner, okay? Because he's family. All right, that brings us to episode.
I move the biggest cons in the verse with my Converse, like.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to episode. Vanity Fair says that brings us to episode 3, and obviously the reemergence of Vader. We get Vader and Obi-Wan face to face, but the sequence where Vader is walking down the street, slaying innocent bystanders, has people saying, "This is the scariest Vader's ever been." And then he says, "It was 1,000% the intention." From a Vader point of view, we're all living with the memory of the end of Rogue One and how effective that was. It was very gratifying to see Vader finally be unleashed in a sequence like that. So we wanted to try to trump it if we could. It was a lot of extreme. It was more extreme at one point. Oh, fucking hell, Joby. Why did you say that, Joby? You were doing so good. Now there's gonna be that guy. He's like, oh, what could have been more violent? Yeah. I mean, that guy's making a video of it right now, probably.
I could do these jokes all day, but I'm trying to like not just. It's almost too easy.
And then Vanity Fair's all, really? Tell me more. And then they say, he's all, I'm not the fucking queen. Don't talk to me like that. No, I'm kidding. He says, I got pulled back a little bit on that. It was so important to define Vader's anger and rage. There's an emotionality to the choices he's making that are a little further than we're used to seeing with Vader. He's pushed a little more than the Vader we know. Obi-Wan isn't the finished article. Obi-Wan isn't the finished article before the original Star Wars. We can look at Vader and we can look at Vader in the same way. So just saying that they're not finished. Sorry, I read that so poorly. He is emotionally invested in the hunt to the same degree that Obi-Wan's emotionally invested in running away. What a tremendous vehicle to try to articulate rage when you have Darth Vader on board and you have that silhouette. It was a scary sequence, but it was entirely by design, and it had to be because everybody's running from something that's terrifying. Yeah. By the way, one of the dudes who plays Vader, the guy who plays Vader when he's standing, you're talking about like when he would get really mad and angry as Darth Vader doing the lines, the helmet would shake, and it would look comical and bad. So they ended up having to have him not speak the lines and have a voice actor voice the lines for him that he emoted to. That way it made it where he didn't make his body shake. Anyways, Vanity Fair says he was walking down a street, grabbing and killing innocent bystanders just as he walks. They're not even doing anything. I couldn't help but think of something like Michael Myers from the Halloween films with the stiffness of the mask that shrouds the emotion beneath, making it seem detached. Am I reading this right? And he says, I know what you mean. That just makes him all the more intriguing. As he's going down the street doing all these things, he's doing them to draw the Jedi out. We've established the language. The Jedi hunt themselves because they cannot stand by and watch innocents be killed. So Vader is cognizant of what he's doing, and he's walking down the street. The horror of the moment has an emotional weight because it's calculated. And that calls back to what we were talking about in that moment, where I was like, if this was a movie, it wouldn't so much require the callback be reminded, that the audience was reminded of the callback. But because it's a TV show, like we're supposed to remember back to the first episode that the Jedi, and we're like, is that what he's doing? I feel like if you watch them all in order, maybe it plays that way a bit more. But when we watched it on the first viewing on a week-to-week basis, that didn't come through. I did put it together, but it didn't come through very effectively on that first late night watch. And I think when people watch this for the first time, when all six are out and stuff like that, I don't think that they're going to have the same problem that we kind of had in that moment. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I got what was happening when it was happening. I just feel like there's some magic between editing music and looking at actors emote that hasn't happened in a way that makes it totally clear. I don't know, in a dramatic manner. Like it's there.
Well, I'm talking about the fact that he was using the people as collateral or as hostages,
torturing them to draw Obi out,
killing them, and he knows,
and Obi's running.
Yeah,
right.
But he, it definitely needed a line from Kenobi, or it could have used a line from Kenobi saying, like he's drawing, he's manipulating me, he's drawing me out. I know, I like that he knows what that he's being played, and he does. I think he does know. Or
if there was a parallel to when Luke is sitting there in Jedi, and Vader very quietly is just like, you want to help them, but you can't even help yourself, Kenobi. Kind of shit like that. Just like that little subtle. Vader talks shit, subtle shit, not big dramatic shit. Like he's a conjure. He's the one that gets in your fucking head, and then when you see him, you're like, oh shit, the visual matches the shit talker too. Fuck, you know what I mean? Like, run! No one's coming down. Or he could be talking shit to the people in the town. no one's coming to help you. You know, you can't protect them. You know, no one's coming for you. You know?
Yeah, you can't hide forever, Luke. That's kind of what you're like, that kind of
or
thing.
that the villagers themselves, no one's coming to save you. So helping these people will only put you in. You know what I mean? Like, and watch, and then when he runs, look.
Well,
see,
they actually do have that line in that episode. She's like they're not going to help you.
It's just the way it's constructed, and I don't want to bring up another show to show you in a way which I think it's constructed in a way that makes a lot more sense. But for me, like I told you, it's going to work for people, and it's not. You know, so I'm one of the few. I think overwhelmingly the fans have latched onto this and been like, that's for them. So I don't want to be that dude who's like, but it isn't. Here's how I'm right. I'm wrong. I'm totally fucking wrong. I'm just saying, for me, I didn't get that Vader whispering to Luke in Bespin kind of shit, or in the Emperor's chamber, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Vanity Fair goes on to say, did you see the Queen? Can you believe she's still alive? No, it says they finally came face to face, and obviously there's a lightsaber duel. But when Vader gets the upper hand, he ignites some fuel and tries to burn Obi-Wan alive. And as he burned in the lava. When Obi-Wan defeated him in their last encounter, how did you approach that? Tell me about the process in creating that moment. And Jovi says, his choice is revealing the character beneath and the torture beneath, the pain inflicted and the eye for an eye of it all. It's a chance to hint at something beneath the mask. Vader can't be talking about, his feelings. So it has to be in the action. That comes from dragging people down the street behind you to try to pull the Jedi out of hiding. And that comes in inflicting the same pain upon the Jedi that he did to you. It's awful, but he should be awful. He's Darth fucking Vader. Okay, I added the fucking. So yeah, and that is
fucking Vader. Oh shit!
If Vanity Fair continues to if Vanity Fair does Cassian, I'm gonna buy the fucking subscription for the show. But if Vanity Fair doesn't, then I will be happy that I didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Did they do a piece on the Mando? If
Uh,
they didn't, you know why, man? And I'm going to tell you this right now. I feel so. It's one of two things. One, it's because Kenobi they're akin to a movie to them because of the cinematic, the actor, and the fact that this plays as a sequel to Episode 3. Probably a bigger deal. That would be my first thing. The other thing I would say is Cinefex is gone. You know, so like, and then Cinefex is primarily special effects, but sometimes, man, like you do get these interviews in there, these nuggets where they say things that are going on set. Like when you had photos of Vader walking around, they would talk to someone, and you get a little bit more insight there usually from the showrunner or the
yeah.
producer.
I think I have the answer to this though. If you want to know, it's that EW used to get it all, and Vanity Fair used to get a lot, and like the photo shoot and stuff. Anthony Bresnikan was let go from Entertainment Weekly when they started downsizing, and then Vanity Fair hired Bresnikan. So now the Lucasfilm's guy at EW is at Vanity Fair. So I think that's what probably pushed the piece in this many pieces of this amount of quality. He used to do this many pieces when he was at EW. And so I think that's what's actually like going on. And so I think that Bresnikan being at Vanity Fair is probably really good for Vanity Fair, probably not so hot for EW, as we saw. What did EW get? They had like a picture of Vader, like from the Energizer Bunny shot, and that was pretty much like a very, very few, very small like things. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't what it used to be, and so that's clearly gone over here now. But I have to say though, like it's Anthony Bresnikan obviously is really good at his job. Like he's like writing to an audience. You know what I'm saying? It's just fucking bizarre to me that they think like fucking Vanity Fair is the place for Star Wars fans.
Right.
If that's what they think, or like where the audience is, or maybe Vanity Fair is about getting outside of the Star Wars fans. Maybe I'm reading it completely wrong. Maybe that's what it is. But it's a very weird choice of all of the magazines or kind of outlets that you can do, because it's like I said, I was making fun of the fucking queen. They're covering the fucking queen. Like you have to be a real fucking idiot to care about that shit. And if any of you, 100 of you, 101 of you, like the queen,
Meg's raging right now.
You
What
ever
are
seen,
you doing?
You ever seen Queen Amidala? How do you even compare that?
You
Queen
can't-
Amidala. She
you
just like
can't compare.
she was like a clown, and then she became a fine ass woman. Think about it. That's amazing. That's called character progression.
Gosh.
Darren says, even though he has the who? What are you talking about? Because of the Pablo Hidalgo thing that happened with Theory after the Mando season 2 ending when Luke came back, I don't think anyone from Lucasfilm would go on Theory's YouTube channel. Oh, I don't know about any of that. Probably not. Yeah, I don't really care about their hot takes. You know,
Until I started doing this show, and I'll be honest, until like a month ago, I didn't even know who these fucking people were. So as big as they may be on YouTube, they just don't exist in the real world for a lot of folks. You know?
Yeah, but that's what's weird is they get millions of views and then they actually play a part in the discourse, for better or worse. But why doesn't Joby go on the biggest Star Wars channel, Theory, and get interviewed there instead of the vanity crap? So I in essence agree with where you're going there, but also I mean, can you imagine that interview? He'd be like, yeah, so I wanted this like subtleties, like, why didn't you just do more rage? Why did you put Reva between my boys? You know, it would be a terrible interview, probably.
I feel these interviews should be on the Star Wars YouTube channel.
What? I know. Like I wish they would go back to just like
Star Wars as
like,
a channel.
You know, like yeah, and like don't make it like whoa guys, today on the Star Wars channel we got Joby Harold, and then he's like, yeah, so I was like really sad when I wrote that because Darth, you know, it's like it's weird like whenever they like do their interviews because they try to make it so like a talk show thing. Yeah, it's like calm down.
When I say it on their channel, I mean by someone who can actually interview, you know, not what they're currently doing, you know. Like,
come on, Ben, give a little bit of credit to RuPaul as well, at least. Marty says, abolish the monarchy. I'm after an independent Scottish republic. Cut London off and stop stealing our oil. Fuck, I stepped into some politics here. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know that I don't like monarchies. I am.
Ewan agrees. Agrees.
No, I really do like I really don't get like why a democracy would ever be like, oh, the Queen, I clap for that. Like, what the fuck is that? It's like the most anti-democratic thing ever. Right. Even though I know she's just a fucking puppet symbol now, but whatever.
I support Marty, by the way.
Yeah, I support Marty too. You know, as a person. Real Ben Maynard says the Star Wars YouTube channel is a little joke. They cut down their weekly Star Wars shows to basically just marketing products, and it's not like entertaining or anything now. It's a total waste. Yeah, it's because I mean like if I had to critique it, is that it was never authentic. It was always a bunch of people like doing like the fake smile thing. Yeah. And Andy's great. I think Andy's a pretty nice person. She's like seems to be a really real person as far as I could tell. And but I don't think that they really like just didn't, I don't know, they just like didn't let them find their voice or something. And yeah, it was always like felt like they were like muzzled and full of anxiety over not saying the wrong thing or something. I don't know. It was like a hostage. I feel like when I watch that channel, I feel like I'm watching a hostage situation.
Right. You know who and look, this is my honest opinion. Like I think, you know, who's pretty good at doing disarming interviews that I think Lucasfilm could get behind, because you know, Mama? Given what you've done Jason, they're never going to support you. You know, like
not me.
You know,
no.
But Harloff's really good when he's talking to people one-on-one, man. Like go watch when he's talking from Clark Wolf to like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, you get really interesting conversations that don't go in the typical like PR.
Yeah, no. And I've always thought like the good thing about Harloff is that he's the guy the fucking fans of whatever it is he's covering think they are or want to be. And that's what I think why like somebody like that dude would be a good choice. But instead, I don't know. Yeah, they don't really seem to capture they don't really read the room right, do they? And that's
No,
not
and I
me.
think
That's not me
if
saying no girls. That's not me saying that to be
that's not what
fucking
I'm saying
clear.
at all.
Yeah,
Like,
just to be super clear. It's that they like you know, it's just weird. It feels like they all feel like
I'll bring up
really
a
they all feel
female
like
interviewer
really
who's
nice.
super good.
Oh, they all feel like really nice adjunct professors. How is that fun? You know, just throwing that out there. But what's that?
Damn, I'm brain farting the fucking name, dude.
You know
I
why?
listen to her podcast
You know
all
why?
the time.
Because you're thinking about Mapuzo right now.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
Your
It's
Mapuza
okay.
gets in my head. I can't think of nothing. No. She has a music podcast. It's super. I've mentioned her before. Like she even had she's friends with Loki. What's his face? The actor from Loki. Unless you think I can't remember a female. I can't remember a lot of people's fucking names. The dude who plays Loki. That guy.
Mm-hmm. Hiddleston, some shit like that.
Yeah, that fucking.
Yeah.
She had him on when Loki was on to talk about music, and he's really, she's really good too. Like, there's just there's some people. I'm not the guy to interview folks because I'm not gonna I'm not disarming. But they're really good. Like in terms of just drawing out conversations with folks.
So here's how my Vanity Fair like interview go. I would be like, wow, that was really, really impressive when Darth Vader walked down the street and walked up to that wall of fire. What were you thinking when you dick butt? And he'd be like, what? When you dick butt? And then I would just see what he said.
I got banned from Reddit. Did I tell you about this one time? Like a Reddit thread. I tried Reddit once in 2016 when everyone was doing like what
now we know
Pokemon
why
were.
he's mad at Reddit for
I put up a Pikachu.
Okay.
And then I did the video as a Pikachu, but then when it turns, it's a dick butt. I was a dick butt.
Dick butt.
Yeah, they banned me.
Oh, shit.
Can you do us a Grogu dick butt? We need that. We just need to put that up.
What does Grogu sound like?
He talks in that trailer, that leaked trailer. Yeah, Disney had the 501st standing in by the camera, ready to go for the Star Wars show host. Ha ha ha. Would you want? I read that like condescendingly. I didn't mean to. I was just like ha ha ha. Darren says, "Would you want Vader back if we do get a season 2?" You know, I would. I wouldn't mind Vader being a player in this. It depends on what the story is, right? Like Vader being a player in the story. Like if we end up following Reva and she's done some things that they don't like and they're going to be mad at her now, like the Grand Inquisitor and stuff. So if we ended up seeing them sort of play into like her story and being a presence, an ominous presence out there, I'm not necessarily against that. But I also feel like if you do the Inquisitor's story, if you continue the Inquisitor's stories, then you're doing it at the administrative level. I think Vader always needs to be like the top Inquisitor. There's the Grand Inquisitor, but that's like their emperor when you get down to it. Like I like to think these guys never have seen the emperor. Like they're talking about how like you spoke to Darth Vader. Oh shit! Like when Reva does it. So I think that Darth Vader in that world becomes like the king of them, so to speak. I know I'm anti-monarchy, but these are the bad guys. And so what I want Vader back, I don't know if I'm gonna need more Vader and Kenobi drama. I don't know if I need it. I don't know if after this story's done, I'm gonna need that explored more. But could it mean more for the other characters and stuff like that, or could there be things going on there? If they give like something intriguing about Vader, then I would be like definitely be up for it. But I don't think they have to do that. I think like this like Darth Vader being like the main villain kind of thing and having the rematch that's going to come and stuff like that being like the kind of like the tent pole to it, if you will. I think they've done that now. So I'm not really like dying for something like that, and it kind of sucks because they would really be like if they had Kenobi meet Maul and did something with that. Well, he goes to try to kill Kenobi in that thing, and like they kind of like the way that scene was written doesn't really leave a lot of it leaves it would be really stretching more than they stretch the A New Hope lines. I feel I'm gonna watch that again though, and I'll tell you tomorrow. Marty McKay says, "Thanks guys. The host of the Star Wars channel kind of speaks to us like we are we are a head injury support group. Christian Harloff is really good at interviews. Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pick on her or whatever. I think that's a really hard job to have. I think you're like being the face of a really random weird corporation that's being pulled in 8 different ways with 29 different bosses. It's probably a nightmare. Ron Burgundy Star Wars interview, exactly. I don't know where to put my hands though. Oh, that's Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
Aria, why didn't Vanity
Scotch.
Fair ask Vader looking at Kenobi and not going after him? Yeah, right. That's what I thought they were going to do for a second. Thought it was kind of going there, but maybe there's going to be a part 2 of that interview. You know, maybe he's seen the whole series. Maybe they interviewed the whole and they're just putting out the snippets, and maybe that will be in another part. We could hope, but people will definitely be asking them, so they better get their answer straight. Harloff says Ben says Harloff would be really good at that. I really liked his interview series he did on Collider back 5 years ago. Roti says, is Ahsoka building any new sets besides the temple at the train yard? Last I checked, it was set for teardown. So I'm not exactly like rushing back over there, you know, to like watch them tear it down or whatever. But I mean, no, I'm never going back there again, Rosie. Never. I will never go back there ever again. How dare you even ask me what's going on there as if I'm going to look, because I'm most certainly not. Thanks, Rosie. All right. Darren says, you think anyone from Lucasfilm ever watches the show and they're like, damn, that guy Jason got the leaks again. We've been trying to keep secret. I've heard the stories. They're like, how does that guy keep doing it? You know, and stuff from a couple of the other nicer, cool people. I'm sure a couple of them are like, you know, secrets need to be saved. The secrets need to be saved until they're on the screen. You know, there's definitely like those people there too. But they're just on Facebook farting, smelling their own farts all day. So what do they do anyway? Mark says, I think we definitely need more interviews from the writers so that people can understand the decision taking place on the show. Otherwise, we get these dumb theories that just fuel grifters. Yeah, you're not wrong, Mark. Like I think there is definitely like a moment where you let the audience interpret it, and who knows? Sometimes the audience may interpret it better than what the writer did. George Lucas, probably sometimes, and that can happen, right? But they do need to be like, I'm going to applaud them for the proactive release of that article, of the fact that they had that shit out in Vanity Fair for this soon after the episode. Like realistically, we watched it at midnight, but most people watch it in the first 3 or 4 days. And within that first 3 or 4 days, they got the article out, and it's clarifying more. So they are kind of doing it right on that front. It's a little bit better, you know, than what's been done in the past. But also, I think you also run up against like Joby Harold is a writer, but hey, Joby, can you go do an interview? Yeah, for Vanity Fair, yeah, I can do it. But you ask like Jon Favreau, and he's like, no, sorry, I'm turning the Gummy Bears into a live action movie for Disney right now. I can't do that. So it's probably a little bit harder when it's not like a standalone Hollywood writer.
They do have pretty good gummy berry juice at Galaxy's Edge. Actually, it's something I'm working on that. Gummy berry juices.
We got
keto. Actually, gets me moving.
We got Brittany. We got Brittany to do the theme.
You know, I almost think fucking Favreau talks like Rain Man sometimes. You know? Definitely.
Me too.
Berry juice. Definitely. You know, it does.
I can relate.
He affirms a lot. He affirms.
Lucasfilm, if you're hate watching this right now, Cad Bane
like
season 2 and Tor Valum, you better do it because honestly, Arya's going crazy. Like I heard she like tore apart her whole room. She like ripped off all the posters off the walls because there was no Tor Valum in last night's episode. So aggressively relaxing. I like that name. I feel like it's unfair to punish Riva for being a backstabbing monster in the Empire. I thought it was the job description, right? Yeah, the Empire is a bunch of hypocrites, you know. Really though, like one of the concepts of the Empire, like from the George Lucas era, is more of like these people are setting out to do this good thing, but then you are going to have corruption. And then what does corruption create? And then so it's within that, and then so Palpatine's obviously the head of the snake in this instance, so it's way corrupt.
I just wish the dynamic or the threatening nature of the Inquisitors, all of them, was more akin to the Three Storms in Big Trouble in Little China, and less Power Rangery to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like when those 3 storms show up, you're like, oh, we're fucked. You know, like,
Right.
Everyone's running scared, and they're goofy looking. They shouldn't. You shouldn't take them. You know, you don't laugh at them until the very end when one explodes and turns into a giant garbage pail kid. But they're frightening, and so like they just come off very. I'm Rita Repulsa. Like, all right, man. Chill. Not Riva, but like the other ones more so. You know, like. I don't know. There's just a dynamic there that I wish was more. I don't know. I guess I'm not saying it has to be serious. I don't think serious is always the answer. I mean, Zack Snyder films have proved you can be too serious, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can take your lowbrow shit too seriously.
Right.
It can
I
definitely
just
happen.
threatening is the thing I would say. I don't feel threatened by them as a dynamic.
I want Santa to get that gig too. He'd be the best at it. He'd be great at it. But also
Santa asks him about Josh all day. Santa's like, have you watched Josh's show? You know what he's saying.
No, Santa would be like, so Jon Favreau, have you put any blurgs in the season? He'd be like, we actually like used a blurg, and we thought maybe we'd like go with like more of like a tauntaun this time. And then he'd be like, Santa would be like, ho. This interview's done.
He turns into Hans Gruber.
yeah. exactly what I was. But Ben doesn't know why, but I still like the fifth brother. Yeah, I'm not feeling the fifth brother. It's just not working for me yet.
They don't have any chemistry, do they? I mean,
they really don't. It's like, and I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's Sun King's fault necessarily. But it's like, it's just a bad wine pairing. That wine and cheese just do not go together. It was a bad taste in your mouth. Like, because he's all like, I'm a Power Ranger bad guy. Reba, and she's like, what's your fucking problem? Like, it's like
doesn't mix well.
Yeah, it just
the other one, Jason.
I feel like I'm looking at two people about to fight on the bus.
You know who the other one reminds me of? Reminds me of the sister in Roseanne. Like Roseanne's sister, you know, or because she played it very serious the first couple of seasons, where she's just like horrified about wherever Roseanne says the whole time. She's not doing anything but just looking at it like, all right. And I feel like by the third season she'll be like a loose drunk. This fourth sister or whatever, her second sister. I don't know the fucking numerology here, but yeah.
Yeah, I have to be honest, Mark. When I think of a Vader series, the one thing that I would do, or how I would do it to make it work, or what I think they need to do to make it work, is you would need to really make it the Anakin series, and you would have to. I hate to say it, but you'd have to do the exact thing that they're doing in that episode of Book of Boba Fett, but with Darth Vader. And you'd have to do that with him going back to Anakin, but there would need to be intrigue there. But the thing about it is, with Anakin, he was good, so you're able to go and you're able to like turn that around, and you're able to actually like show now he's good, now he's the monster. You know what I mean? But anyways, we're gonna call this one a show, guys, because I gotta go, and we'll be back. Today's Friday, so I'll be back over the weekend if anything goes on, or if I get super bored for some reason. But I'm a little exhausted today after this week. So
it's been a long few weeks, hasn't it?
It's been a long, yeah. So I don't know if I will be, but I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us and for liking the show today and subscribing and all of that jazz and for watching it. It means a lot to me that you guys hang out with us every day. And as always, thank you, Rob, for being a cartoon man on the show.
That's what I do.
And Chris for being a GQ model while we read Vanity Fair. So
he
all
literally
right.
looks the best. What's his excuse? I
Yeah.
get why I'm a cartoon, but what's Chris's excuse?
All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. Watch Obi-Wan Kenobi 1 through 3 again. Reevaluate it. Learn to love it or don't. I don't care.
Like the video.
Like the video.
Go watch Big
Yeah.
Trouble in Little China, will you? Fucking phenomenal.
Sure.
That's a good time.
Quite gone, but not forgotten. Just forgotten. Wanna leak, like Liam Neeson. Quite gone.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.